What is going on, guys? Today we are going to be taking a look at some predictions for the 2024 RLCS World Championship, but we're gonna do things just a little bit differently. So I have done my predictions and I'll show those off at the end of the video, but today we'll be taking a look at what my wife, who has very little to no experience with the RLCS, thinks about what is going to happen at these World Championships. And before we do get started, I'd just like to give a big shout out to Lepid for bringing this idea to my attention. So without any further ado, let's see how the World Championship is going to go, according to someone with almost no Rocket League knowledge. As you guys can tell, she's thrilled to be here. She's absolutely ecstatic about what's going on. Thanks, Lepid, once again for this great suggestion. Now, Sam, if you wouldn't mind, just how much do you know about Rocket League? What's your experience with RLCS?
Going to the spring majors in Boston last year.
So that is a singular RLCS event, and then the numerous times I've asked her to check Wikipedia for me while I've desperately tried to not see what's been going on. So that's her extent of her knowledge. So it's not extensive, so this should go well. So Sam, we're gonna start off right here at the top. We got G2 versus Limitless. Now, Limitless is our lovely team from Sub-Saharan Africa. They tend to not do too well at these events, normally struggling to even win a single game. G2 is our best team coming in from North America. Who do you got going through in this first match here?
G2.
And what score you want to give it?
3-0.
I like it. You know what? I think we agree right there. That's a beautiful idea. Lovely pick there. So next up, we have Gentlemates against Pioneers. Now, Pioneers is OCE. You might be familiar with them due to a lovely fellow named CJ. That is your only knowledge of OCE. I'm sure you probably have never heard of anybody else.
Probably not. So
CJ not playing. He retired a couple years ago. At least not in this match. There's a show match that we'll talk about later on where he actually is playing. Gentlemates is our #1 seed from Europe.
Gentlemates. We'll do 3-0 again.
I like it. I respect it. Pioneers tends to struggle. They're also the 2nd seed from OCE, so not necessarily maybe expecting too much from them. Falcons Gladiators. So Falcons here we have coming out of MENA, so Middle East. Very dangerous team. They're normally very good through Swiss and the bracket up until they get to the grand finals. Gladiators is coming in from APAC, so Asia. Also another region that tends to struggle greatly.
We'll do Falcons winning, but we're gonna do 3-1.
Ooh, spicy. Any reason why? Why are we giving Gladiators a game here?
Give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, we'll give him a shot. We'll see what happens.
Maybe Vert can have himself a day. We'll see what happens. I don't dislike it. All right, we got Furia and OG next. Furia is our #1 seed from South America. OG dead last North America. You might not be a fan of OG because they're the reason Reddles isn't here.
Oh.
For anyone wondering, the only main player she knows is Reddles. Big fan of Reddles, likes Reddles a lot.
And Reddles' dad.
We got to meet Reddles' dad in Boston. Big fan. But yes, these guys are the reason. Well, also Luminosity themselves is the reason Reddles isn't here. But OG and Luminosity were going at it all season. So, Furia, #1 seed from South America versus last seed in North America. What you got?
We'll do Furia. We'll do 3-1.
Fair. I like the strategy so far. You're getting closer as you go down the list, which is what people would expect, so that's fair enough. Okay, BDS Oxygen. This is a weird one, because right here we have BDS, who is the 2nd seed in Europe, which, you know, very fair. But then Oxygen is a bit of a weird case. Oxygen's the 5th seed in Europe. Now, the 5th seed isn't supposed to be here. The only reason Oxygen is here is because the 2nd seed from Middle East forfeited their spot.
Okay.
So that is the only reason Oxygen is here, but you might be familiar with Joyo on Oxygen.
Yep.
You might recognize that name. So we got BDS 2nd seed in Europe versus 5th seed in Europe, but Joyo coming in here.
We gotta give it to BDS, but we're gonna do 3-0 on this one. Being that they are 5th seed and shouldn't even be here.
Oh, you have no confidence in Oxygen, and I can respect it.
They shouldn't even be here.
You know, that's fair. They did, you know, not do the job they needed to do. They needed to do better at the spring major, and they didn't. That's fair enough. She's gonna be brutal. I can tell. It's gonna be a rough go of it for some of these teams. All right, Vitality Secret 2nd seed from South America. Vitality is the one team that she is very familiar with. Another big fan of Zen, which is not surprising, but in fairness, being at the Spring Major in Boston, we got to witness the whole Farah taking control of the crowd. Now, Farah isn't their coach anymore. That's important to mention. Farah actually coaches KC now. Yeah.
That's gonna play a big part, I think.
Yeah. So, Vitality Secret.
I feel like I gotta give it to Vitality, though, but we're gonna do 3-2.
Ooh. You know what? Respect the Sam energy coming out. Yes, and that is the abbreviation for South America. Sam. Going well for Sam here. We love that. I like that we're getting closer. I'm interested to see if there's going to be any upsets coming in here in the last two. This is probably the most likely area that it could happen. Gen G Power. Power is the #1 seed from OCE. Very, very good team. They've basically gotten to the very end of these qualifying segments over and over and have lost every single time. Gen G. You're very familiar with them. You probably recognize the name Apparently Jack.
I feel like it's gonna be a 3-2.
Okay. You want it. I know you want it. You're thinking about it.
I am. You know what? Let's give it to Power 3-2.
Ooh, there's our first upset. I don't hate it. Power notoriously comes out very fast against Gen G and then falters like from game 2 on. Hopefully this time they've overcome their difficulties and can sneak through that Gen G issue. Okay, so moving on, we come to, and I know you were looking at this one this entire time, Space Station Carmine Corps. Carmine Corps, very interesting situation. They missed the Spring Major, didn't even qualify. So the only reason KC did not earn their spot here, they're here because another team did not do enough. Space Station, 3 seed in North America, has constantly pushed G2 to the absolute limit. Normally in best of 7s going to game 6, game 7 against G2 has been very, very close against a struggling KC. But it's still KC.
I feel like I want to give it to KC on this one, 3-2. I feel like they're here to prove themselves.
That's fair. Vatira probably very interested in not...
And I know how he is as a coach, watching him with Vitality.
Talking about Farah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Farah is a very good coach, so we'll see what we got. All right, so that's round 1 done. We're going to speed up through these a bit more because we know what all these teams are now. So, G2 Power, NA versus OCE. What are your thoughts here?
I gotta give it to G2, but it's gonna be a 3-2.
Ooh, lots of confidence in Power. What's the reason? What do you think Power is going to be able to do here against G2 that's going to make them somewhat successful?
Well, I think if they can pull off a win against Gen G in the first round, I think they can pull a win off of, or a close loss to G2.
That's a very sensible idea. And G2 is not getting the best warm-up against Limitless. We know how that tends to go. So Power definitely has an opportunity to cause an upset here. All right, we got an EU on EU matchup. Gentlemates versus KC. Does KC continue their momentum from round 1?
I think they do, but I think it's going to be another 3-2 to KC, though.
What's giving you that idea? Why is KC suddenly able now to take down these top teams that they've struggled against in the recent history?
Well, like you said, they're going to have that strong warm-up already with playing against Space Station.
Fair, yes.
So they'll be able to carry that momentum over to doing Gentlemates and be able to see how they did against the Pioneers. And, you know, they're here to prove themselves that although they didn't earn their spot, they deserve to be there.
Redemption arc for KC. I know you're not the only person thinking that. All right, another EU on EU. Got a couple EU matchups going on here. BDS Vitality. I could guess which way you're going to go here. But I'm curious with how consistent BDS tends to be, what your thoughts are.
It's going to be a 3-2 Vitality.
Yep, I could have told you guys she's going to go Vitality for a lot of these matchups. Big fan of Zen. I don't think you're even really aware of the other 2 players on Vitality. You just know Zen. Although I'm pretty sure if I said Alpha or Radosin, you'd recognize the names. You just wouldn't really know who they are or what they do. Very interesting matchup here, though, at the bottom of round 2. Falcons Furia, Mina versus Sam. Are you going to keep with the namesake and go with the one that matches your name?
I think we're going to do the Falcons, and we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to do a 3-1.
Ooh, you know, that's fair. Now, this match is probably going to be one of the fastest we would see. All right, Gen G Limitless. I think this one's pretty cut and dry. Limitless generally struggles pretty heavily.
We're gonna do Gen G 3-0.
Yep, okay. I'm cool with that. Space Station Pioneers.
We're gonna do Space Station.
Okay.
We'll still do 3-0.
That's fair, totally respectable. Then we got Secret Oxygen. So this is South America versus EU5.
I feel like it's gonna be close because looking at the first round bracket that they are right there, one right after the other. I'm gonna give this one to Secret.
Okay.
But it's gonna be a 3-2.
Okay. And what allows Secret to get through there? Is it just their incredibly stalwart defense, or are they gonna break out some kind of offensive firepower themselves?
I think Oxygen, they were 5th seed, so I just don't think that they're going to be able to prove themselves.
Okay, last but not least here, we got OG versus Gladiators.
All right, so again, they are one right after the other in the first match there. So I think it's gonna be close. We're gonna do the Gladiators though.
Oh!
We're gonna mix it up.
Oh my gosh, what a huge upset. What's the score?
It's gonna be 3-0. We're gonna call it 3-0.
I swear, if you're right about this, I'm gonna lose my mind. Wow, okay. Sure, the Gladiators have shown some firepower from time to time. So, who's to say? And then OG didn't get to play at the Esports World Cup because they were 4th seed. So it could happen. Maybe. Who's to say? All right. Qualifying match to get through to the bracket. We got G2 and KC.
I feel like I have to give it to G2 because that's the expecting.
But I feel a but coming on.
I do like KC.
Oh, you want to do it?
I do because I want to see KC challenge G2 so much that they lose.
Wait, then who loses? G2?
That G2 loses. Yeah.
So you're giving it to KC?
I'm gonna give it to KC.
3-2, I'm assuming?
Yeah, 3-2.
G2 dropping from the qualifying match. Gonna have to continue to work their way through Swiss. Bit of a surprise there. Falcon's Vitality, another very tough match, but Falcon's speed against Vitality's consistency.
It's gonna be another 3-2.
Okay.
But I gotta give it to Vitality.
Ooh, very interesting. Gentlemate's Secret, EU versus Sam.
We're gonna give it to Gentlemates.
Fair enough. What we got?
3-1.
Why is that?
Secret was just so far down the first bracket. I don't see them pulling out a win against Gentlemates, 2nd seed.
That's very fair points that you make there. We'll see if Secret can possibly pull up the upset. BDS Gladiators, very good European team versus APAC.
We gotta give it to BDS.
I agree. What do you got?
A 3-0.
That's very fair.
No offense to the Gladiators.
No, I think it's more offensive to OG, honestly. Because that is not a good look for them should that happen. Ooh, Furia Gen G. This one's very close. Again, we're kind of at a speed versus brains situation. Gen G tends to play very smart. Furia very fast.
We're gonna do Gen G.
Okay.
3-2.
I like it. That is not a bad pick at all. You thinking the consistency is going to come out on top there, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
What's the problem with the speed?
They could get a little cocky with the speed.
They could.
A little too overconfident, so...
That sounds a lot like Furia. They definitely play with absolutely no regard for what could go wrong. Makes a lot of sense.
I think they're going to win probably, like, the first 2 matches. Those are the 2 that they're going to win, and then they get overconfident and let it slip.
You think Gen G is gonna reverse sweep Furia?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like it. All right, Space Station Power, 3rd seed NA versus number 1 in OCE.
We're gonna give it to Space Station.
Okay, sure.
It's gonna be a 3-2.
I like the close matches. We've had a lot of events recently where things haven't necessarily been close, down to elimination matches. So if you lose here, you're out. So we got Oxygen versus Limitless. SSA has never even come close to beating an EU team.
I want to give it to Limitless, though.
Why? I'm so curious, why?
Again, Oxygen shouldn't have been here.
Okay, sure.
They were 5th seed. They shouldn't even be here. Again, no offense to Oxygen, but like we're gonna do a 3-2 though. We're gonna do a 3-2. We'll try to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I want to give Limitless a chance.
Let the record show with this prediction. What we're basically saying here is that Limitless is not going to care what number of EU bubble teams comes down to SSA next season should Epic and Blast not fix that issue. They're gonna say, screw that, we're still gonna take our major spot. We're still gonna get our world spot, because apparently, Limitless, better than 5th seed EU. You know what? I love it. Let Limitless claim their spot as the number 1 team in SSA and actually show the world what they can do. Why the heck not? All right, OG Pioneers.
So let's give it to OG.
Okay, that's fair.
We're gonna do 3-2 just because I feel like it's just gonna drag.
I'm very interested to see like what these underdog teams, because both Limitless and Pioneers are would not be expected to win these matches. It will be very interested, like with their backs against the wall to this extent at the very end of the season, what kind of quality we get. Because it can either be the best we've ever seen them play, or it can be the absolute worst. And there's really no in between. So we got G2 versus Space Station, another NA matchup here coming through. What do we got going on right here?
I think it's a difficult one.
I agree.
I feel like G2's gonna sweep them though.
Sweep? You don't even give Space Station a game.
No.
Oh, Space Station. That is not going to feel good going into round 5. All right, I can't really argue it. G2 probably also very upset that they haven't qualified here, taking their aggression out on Space Station. Moving on down, Falcons Gen G. Another very, very close one here. Teams that like to go back and forth a bit, but again, speed versus brains.
We're going to do Gen G 3-2.
Falcons starting to struggle. I don't hate it. It could happen. They have been known to struggle from time to time. It's not typically in these qualifying stages. But who's to say what kind of Falcons we get? Gentlemates BDS. EU versus EU. Number 1 versus number 2. Should be very close.
Definitely. It's going to be a 3-2.
Sure.
It's got to be.
Sure.
We're going to do BDS though.
You know what? I respect it. Why do you think BDS? What's going to help? Is it just the Monkey Moon energy? Is it Mr. Moon?
I mean, it could be part of it, but they're both, according to this bracket, they're both coming off that last win, and I think they're both just going to give each other a run for their money.
I agree. The thing we also...
That could be a toss-up one. It could be a toss-up.
I think a lot of these matches end up being toss-ups, like this one, sure. The one thing we have seen as well is Gentlemates in the Esports World Cup, which just happened a couple weeks ago, did not look good at all. Down below, we got Furia Limitless. Dear gosh, Limitless, good luck. I don't know what you're gonna say, but that's what I'm gonna say.
I feel like it's gotta be Furia.
Yeah.
I mean...
I respected their upset over Oxygen, because Oxygen can maybe get a little bit in their own heads. This one I might have questioned a little bit.
Yeah, we'll do 3-0, I think.
Unfortunately, I think the problem is gonna be Furia's speed here. Moving on down, Power... Ooh. Power OG. Oh, that's a juicy one. Power loves getting to this last round. They are the number 1 seed in OCE, and they have looked very good. They've gotten better every single event. OG, I hate to say it, might be starting to slide, but again, it's always up to you.
I think, again, it's going to be a difficult one. Power lost the Space Station.
They did.
OG won against the Pioneers. We're going to give it to OG.
Ooh, Power not even making it to the qualifying match.
3-2.
I respect it. That's totally fair. OG starting to bounce their way back. Maybe they create an upset here in the last round. Secret Gladiators got number 2 Sam versus APAC.
We're going to give it to Secret.
Sure.
3-0.
Ooh, no faith in Gladiators. I can't exactly say I disagree. We got Gentlemates versus OG.
It's gotta be Gentlemates.
Gotta be Gentlemates, and why is that?
OG, I just don't know if they're gonna be able to prove themselves against, the second seed there. So
I think that's number 1. Number 1?
Is it one?
Number 1. Number 1. It's
one.
even worse. It's even worse for OG. So what do you got?
It's gonna be 3-0.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I can't exactly disagree. Gentlemates probably coming out with a lot of fire here if they find themselves here, so.
It would even be a shock if OG even makes it that far.
Falcons Secret. Another battle of speed, but overwhelming offense versus a defense that tries desperately to hold on.
It's gonna be Falcons.
Sure.
We'll do 3-1. I think the speed, I think Secret gets the 1 because they have that momentum from the last one, but I just think the speed from the Falcons is just gonna get to them too much.
Totally understandable. Then last but not least, we got Space... Oh, dear gosh. Space Station Furia. What a matchup to end Swiss. Wow. I honestly have no thoughts on this. I don't know which way you're gonna go. I don't know which way I would go. So, what do you got?
That's a hard one.
Yes, it is extremely
It's gonna be
difficult.
a 3-2. It's going to be a close match.
I agree, 100%.
I feel like in this case, Space Station might be the underdog in it. I think they're gonna be mad about their loss against G2 in the round before. I think Space Station's gonna pull off the win of 3-2.
Oh, Space Station going through. to bracket play over the top of Furia. So now let's take a look at what our bracket looks like. G2 BDS. These are not elimination matches, as a reminder. So no one's out here, so they're not playing with much pressure because they're already getting over here. Just much better positioning if you can win these matches.
I feel like G2 let themselves slip a little bit. And now they're going to be back. So I think it's going to be a 3-2 G2.
I respect it. 100%. Can see that coming. BDS Gen G. BDS running the NA gauntlet here. Get number 1 seed G2 right into number 2 seed Gen G.
I think it's going to be BDS in this case. I think they're going to be upset about their loss against G2. And now they're really, really wanting to get that better start.
Sure. So what score do you have?
It's going to be a 3-2.
3-2 to BDS. You know what? I can't say I hate it. Gen G gonna be moving down there to play Space Station. That's gonna be a very interesting match. Things getting very interesting here in the bracket. These are when matches become complete toss-ups because who's to say what really goes on here? So let's go ahead and do the lower round 1 matches first. So these are again best of 7s. Gen G versus Space Station. NA2 versus NA3. Loser is done.
Much of as I am a fan of Space Station, I gotta give it to Gen G. It's gonna be 4-3.
Well, you know what? I respect it. What gives Gen G the edge? What allows them to come out on top there?
I think they just have what it takes to make it to the quarterfinals. I mean,
fair enough. You know, you have a player like Abject, you have First Killer, you got Chronic. Fair enough. Gen G over Space Station, not a problem. Gentlemates Falcons. Come down here, EU versus Mina. Number 1s from both regions.
I'm going to give this one a Gentlemates.
Falcons not even making it out of lower round 1. Wow, what an upset. What do you got?
It's going to be 4-3. It's going to be a close game. I think Falcons are going to come out with a 2.
Okay.
Two games. Then Gentlemates is going to come in, win 1 or 2. And I think that's gonna falter the Falcons' confidence.
You know what? Falcons does have a tendency to get a little bit frazzled. Normally, it doesn't happen until the grand finals, but who's to say after losing 2 consecutive grand finals that they're not gonna be a little bit more hesitant in how they play the game? Moving up to upper quarters. So you got 2 lives here. You lose here, you drop down to here, so no one gets eliminated from these matches. Vitality. Oh, these 4 teams are dangerous. Wow. Vitality BDS. Oh, what do you got? This is tough right here.
I honestly, wow.
That's pretty.
What did I do?
That's a pretty sensible analysis. I honestly, wow. Yeah. What do you pick here? What do you do?
I want it to be Vitality.
I know you do. I know you want it to be. The question is, who do you actually think it's going to be?
I have a feeling it's going to be BDS.
Oh, is that your final answer,
yeah.
BDS?
4-3 though, 4-3.
I respect it. Probably a couple Redos and own goals in there that caused some problems. Wouldn't surprise me. KC G2. Good luck. Because if KC's playing at their top level, this is a whole big mess right here.
I think KC's gonna knock G2 down.
KC coming on through. Sam with the EU hype coming in. No respect for NA here. NA is starting to struggle. Vitality Gen G. Back to elimination. So from this point on, you lose, you're done.
Vitality 4-2. I think Vitality has a really, really strong team. I think Vitality is going to want to play KC in the semifinals, so I think they're going to pull out all the stops.
Fair. You know what? Fair enough. You got the Redosin bounce coming in. Redosin bouncing up and down all excitedly. He could get the job done for him. G2 Gentlemates. So we're going to have a couple interesting rematches here. G2 Gentlemates. Rematch from the grand finals of Major 1.
We'll give it to G2. We'll give it to G2 4-3. Again, I just feel like they might get overconfident after their win against the Falcons. And I think they are hoping Gen G might be slowing down. So I think they're hoping G2 is getting tired, but G2 is just gonna pull it out from underneath them.
I respect. All right, going up, KC Vitality. Now this one's very interesting because this is a rematch from the semifinals of the World Championship last year. This is a completely different KC team than played that match.
KC has the coach from Vitality.
Yes, KC has Farah on their side. Doesn't seem like that's been helping them too much up to this point.
And I have to give it to KC.
You are making the run that KC fans are dreaming of.
Sorry, Zen, but...
How many games does Vitality get, though? How close are we talking?
Semifinals, we'll give them 3.
I like it. Keep it close. Make these streams last as long as possible. BDS G2. We're fighting to maintain having one EU team and one NA team in the grand finals. And G2 has not missed a grand finals all season long.
We're gonna switch it up.
Oh, you think it's time?
BDS 4-3.
What happens to G2? What goes?
Overconfidence.
Why is that though? They're so good. What causes them to be overconfident?
Well, like you said, they haven't not been in a grand final, so they think they have it in the bag. So they let it slip a little bit.
100% could see it. KC BDS. This might be one of the most unexpected matchups we possibly could have seen, but also one of the most possible. Like, I think you've done a very good job here of getting teams that I don't think many people are gonna predict, but also no one would be surprised if this is what happens. Because both these teams very well could find themselves here in the finals. So, KC, Vatira has been fighting to win this grand finals in a world championship for years now. Ever since he was back on Moist with Joyo and Rise. He's back alongside Rise on this KC roster. BDS coming in with Monkey Moon, has already won a world championship. Coming in with Exotic and Drawley. Who do you got in this position? Is it Vatira or is it Monkey Moon again?
We're gonna give it to Vatira.
What a pick. What a pick indeed. What do you got? 4-2. Wow. Okay, so I have to ask, Monkey Moon notoriously has a bit of a state of bad mental issues, where when things start going wrong, they go wrong quickly. So what do you think the most likely game split here is?
So I definitely think Casey's gonna come out strong with that first win.
Okay.
And then I think BDS is gonna come in, win both of their games. Then I think that Casey is gonna come in and win the other 3.
3 in a row. So what what we're hearing here is Casey wins 1, BDS counters with 2, therefore triggering Casey's timeout. Farah comes in, best halftime speech you ever done did heard, and Casey just rolls from then on out. Pretty much solidifying Farah as what might be one of the best coaches in the game, and Vatira as one of the best players of all time, along with Rise and Ato. So huge news here from KC, so we got KC as the champions. It's very important, but we have one very important thing that we need to discuss, and that is the actual world champion of the Yap-Off between the 2 Rocket League podcasts. So you got Chalked, which is Rizzo, CJ, and Johnny Boy.
Okay.
Against First Touch, which is Roldiz, T-Bates, and Dazarin. Now to put this in perspective, Johnny Boy and Dazarin are both around my rank. So GC1, GC2. T-Bates, used to play Collegiate Rocket League. Roldiz, ex-pro player. Rizzo, obviously ex-pro, played for G2. CJ, ex-pro, played in OCE. Johnny Boy, caster. Dazarin, also caster. So there you go. So there's the roster. So this is the most important thing, because as you can see, the real world champions.
Right.
Very important. So
I gotta give it to Chalked.
does First Touch get a game? That's the big thing. Do they get a game?
We'll do 3-1.
Oh, she
We'll
gives him a
3-1.
game. Gives him a game. Rizzo, CJ, Johnny Boy. Rizzo and CJ finally getting crowned world champions for the first time ever. Props to them, but honestly, this bracket, not bad at all for someone who has very little knowledge about Rocket League. So let's just real quick take a look at what I had. So you'll notice there's no KC anywhere on here. KC, they're back here, getting eliminated there. So, you know, I had quite a different idea because in my brain, Oxygen was gonna come in with like nothing to prove, so they were gonna play totally free, and KC was gonna have a bit of a struggle like they've been, but it could be completely flipped, which is what you did, so that's totally understandable. But I did have an OCE team sneaking in here. I did have Power making a run, which is big for them if they can do it. Guys, whatever you think, let me know down in the comments below how you think she did for very little Rocket League knowledge. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you click the subscribe button right down below so you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, if you'd like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, feel free to join my Discord, which I'll have linked down in the description. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.